Political undertones surround Senate's failure to reconvene. Electricity generation in Nigeria down to below 2,700 megawatts. On the international scene, man arrested for terrorism after crashing car into barrier at British Parliament building. And in sport, Ahmed Musa scores debut goal for Al Nassr.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Senators rumored to be planning an impeachment of Senate President Bukola Saraki upon the planned resumption of the National Assembly today may have been caught off guard, as the National Assembly has decided not to reconvene today. It was gathered the senators had perfected plans to do just that today. Sources say the pressure of resumption continues to mount, and the joint session shall be restricted to only one agenda, which is INEC's budget for next year's elections. The drama is not yet over either. This time, the immediate past Senate Minority Leader, Godswill Akpabio, has vowed that the Senate would declare as vacant seats of the defectors who dumped APC for PDP. They include Senate President Bukola Saraki, former PDP National Chairman Barnabas Gemade, Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso, Senator Dino Melaye, Senator Usman Nafada, Senator Suleiman Hunkuyi, and others. Akpabio says is not disturbed over calls from some quarters that his seat in the upper chamber be declared vacant. The Department of State Services has denied allegations that a huge sum of money and weapons were found in the house of the sacked Director General of the agency, Lawal Dara. Spokesman for the agency, Tony Okmuyo, said the allegations are not true and that information and videos circulating in which several items were recovered from the Katsina and Abuja homes of the former DG are fake. He also said various interest groups have continued to give different accounts of last week's incident at the National Assembly. Okweyo said the presidency had pledged to carry out a detailed investigation regarding the siege at the National Assembly. Really bad news for Nigeria, as the nation's power generation is reduced to just under 2,700 megawatts. This as a result of a decline in the output from the hydropower plants and some gas-fired stations in Egbin-Suffolk. Total electricity generation, which stood at 3,000 megawatts on Sunday, fell to 2,000 on Monday. The nation generates most of its electricity from gas-fired power plants, while output from hydropower plants makes up to about one-third of the total generation. Minister of Power Babatunde Raji Fashola says the problems of the power industry lie at the distribution end. Stakeholders in the Nigerian petroleum industry have stated that the delay in passing the Petroleum Industry Bill into law has resulted in a lot of leakages, theft and sabotage in the industry. The further said that Nigeria has realized the need to change the governance framework of its oil and gas industry. They claim the non-passage of the PIB has cost Nigeria's oil and gas industry billions of dollars worth of investment and returns to the economy. The stakeholders are recommending that the assent to the PIB is essential and should happen as soon as possible. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has recorded 7 deaths from the outbreak of cholera in 4 communities. Director of Public Health, Dr. Humphrey Okoroko, confirmed this and said the outbreak in Kwali and Kuje area councils did not claim any lives. Dr. Okoroko said all efforts have been put in place by the administration to curtail the outbreak. He said health education has been intensified in different communities to sensitize residents to the prevention and management of the disease. The director also disclosed there are 58 cases lifted in the recent outbreak at Ushafa. Residents have been urged not to panic as necessary actions are in place to prevent the spread of the disease. There are indications that a royal battle between the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Saliu Adetuji, and new kings installed by Governor Biola Ajimobi of Oyo State may soon be over. The kings attended a formal peace meeting at the Popoye Moja Palace of the Olubadan. Sources say the peace parley was initiated by some Ibadan indigenes in diaspora. An amicable resolution has reached an advanced stage. The monarch has been entangled with the new kings over their promotion from high chiefs to crown-wearing kings by recommendations of a committee set up by Governor Abiola Ajimobi. The meeting lasted for 2 hours. As part of efforts to aid those with hearing impairment when seeking services of organizations, Lagos State government has inaugurated the use of signs and symbols in banks, hospitals, police stations and front desk. Youth and Social Service Commissioner Agbola Dabiri said the initiative would also enable people with hearing impairment to express themselves in workplaces. Dabiri said the initiative, which is the first of its kind in the state, was part of the governor's plan to run an all-inclusive government. The commissioner added that with time, more sectors will be brought into the initiative, including public transport. 21 houses have been burned and 6 persons missing in Dokwa East local government area in Delta State after an intra-communal clash broke out over a felled guava tree in the area. The crisis started last weekend and has forced indigents to flee the area to take refuge in neighboring villages. Sources say the mayhem is connected with a boundary dispute between 2 quarters in Indian community. The problem started when someone from one of these quarters fell a guava tree in the disputed area. Police PRO Andrew Anyamaka said indigents of the same kindred have been having issues for some time now. He said discussions are ongoing on the way forward. And there is proof today that there are very smart inmates in Lagos jails. The Lagos Prisons Command says 2 of its inmates are pursuing their PhD at the Kirikiri Maximum Prison. Prisons Controller Tunde Ladipo said on Monday that there is renewed interest in education among the inmates across the various prisons in the state. He said the progress and courage exhibited by the 2 inmates have sparked up a new zeal for academic pursuit. Ladipo said 157 inmates across the prisons in the state have registered for the upcoming 2nd series of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination for private schools. Very smart inmates indeed. Stay with ANN News. We'll return with African stories after those messages.
You are watching ANN.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
I am Lucy Adeyemi.
I am Rotimi Akintunde.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji.
We bring you
The news
On ANN News.
Business,
politics,
Global News.
Watch ANN News.
In a truly African spirit.
welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to African stories. A new regional official said on Monday at least 40 people were killed by paramilitary forces in eastern Ethiopia over the weekend in a latest spate of violence driven by ethnic divisions. Unrest along the border of the country's Somali and Oromia provinces has displaced nearly 1 million people. A regional spokesman said heavily armed members of the paramilitary force from the Somali region had carried out cross-border attacks in the area plagued by instability. In the previous week, mobs looted properties owned by ethnic minorities. Regional ethnic violence has spread since protests broke out in 2015 over land rights. The central government said the unrest was stoked by regional officials who had fallen out with central authorities trying to address right abuses in the region. Mali's presidential runoff election was on Sunday. Now, Malian opposition candidate Soumaïla Cisse has said he would reject the result of the poll, marred by accusations of fraud, violence and low turnout. Cisse called on the population to rise up. Ballot counting was underway on Monday across the vast West African country. After the vote on Sunday saw one poll worker killed and hundreds of stations closed due to insecurity. Cisse said at his party's headquarters in Bamako, the fraud is proven and will not accept the dictatorship of fraud. 73-year-old President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is the front runner in a reprise of his 2013 face-off against former Finance Minister Cisse. The former minister's team and other opposition contenders have repeatedly accused the government of fraud, including ballot backstuffing and vote buying. Meanwhile, African Union election observers said the voting was carried out in acceptable conditions. The UN Security Council is urging rival political parties and institutions organizing December's election in the Democratic Republic of Congo to ensure peaceful, credible voting and a democratic transition of power. UN's most powerful body, in a statement on Monday, welcomed recent steps in the electoral process, including President Joseph Kabila's respect for his commitment to abide by the Congolese constitution and not seek a third term. Council members urge all involved to ensure the elections occur in conditions of transparency, credibility and inclusivity. They said respect for fundamental rights and maintaining the electoral timeline are essential for peaceful elections in December. The Council encouraged the Electoral Commission to ensure it makes on time requests for logistical and technical support from the UN peacekeeping mission in DRC for the elections. Sudanese medics say at least 23 persons have been killed in heavy flooding in the past 3 weeks. The Red Crescent Society said on Monday the floods have injured at least 61 others since last month. At least 9,000 families have been left homeless. It says the rainfall has affected more than 45,000 persons and caused significant damage to key infrastructure. That more heavy rainfall is expected in other parts of Sudan. Monsoon rains in Sudan regularly last from June to November and cause the Nile to overflow. Cameroon government said on Monday it would open an investigation into a new video that emerged on social media, appearing to show summary killings by troops in a troubled far north region. The video is purported to show armed men opening fire on 10 unarmed individuals in the village of Achigachia, which has been shaken by jihadist attacks. A government spokesperson said the video will be subject to a thorough investigation overseen by the head of state. He says the results of the inquiry will be released to the press. The government had initially labeled the video as fake news. Amnesty International said the video provides fresh, credible evidence supporting allegations that the Cameroonian armed forces have reportedly carried out major crimes against civilians. Mozambique security forces have identified 6 men they regard as the ringleaders of a nascent Islamic insurgency that has killed more than 100 persons in the north. Police Chief Bernardino Rafael said the 6 were leading attacks in Cabo Delgado, a poor province on the border with Tanzania, where companies are developing one of the biggest gas finds in a decade. He called on local residents to help capture them. Security sources say Mozambican forces are carrying out a series of large offensives to weaken insurgency. The group, whose activities have drawn comparison with the start of Boko Haram in Nigeria, aims to impose a radical form of Islam. Comoros authorities have arrested 10 persons and suspected of being involved in an alleged coup attack 2 weeks after a constitutional referendum paved the way for President Azali Assoumani to extend a stay in power. The suspects in custody include several soldiers and prominent author Saheed Ahmad Saheed. A public prosecutor called them a very impressive enterprise of terrorists. as Omani's camp won the referendum's yes vote and met with a violent opposition boycott. Comoros has been plagued by more than 20 coups since independence in the 1970s. We'll take another short break. I'll be back with international news. Stay with us.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
While the world sleeps, ANN News stays awake. News takes no time off. We are awake so you can sleep. We report the stories that keep you up to date, events that affect your day, your week, month, and experiences. We scour the world, bringing it to your living room. Watch ANN News in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to international stories. London Metropolitan Police have arrested the driver of a vehicle after he crashed into the barriers outside the British Parliament. He's been held for suspicion of terrorist offences. Police say a number of pedestrians were injured. The man is described by the police as being in his late 20s. No weapons were found in his vehicle. Parliament is not currently in session. The House of Commons and House of Lords are both out of session until early September. Mosque youth have set ablaze dozens of cars overnight in Sweden and threw rocks at police, prompting an angry response from the Prime Minister, who spoke on Tuesday of an extremely organized night of vandalism. A police spokesman said initial report shows that at least 80 cars were set on fire in Sweden's second largest city, Gothenburg. Fires were also reported in Malmö, and officials say they cannot prove there was no connection between the fires in the two cities. Witnesses say they saw masked youngsters running away after the fires were set. No arrests have been made. Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven said the society must react in a tough manner. No injuries have been reported. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his country will boycott electronic products from the U.S. He said he has issued another defiant response to the U.S. sanctions imposed in a dispute over the detention of an American evangelical pastor. Erdogan said Turkey has been taking necessary measures regarding the economy as its currency took a dive against the dollar. The latest crisis was provoked by the detention of American pastor Andrew Brunson since 2016, months after a failed coup against the Turkish president. Dozens of children killed in a Saudi-led coalition airstrike in a bus in northern Yemen were buried on Monday. 40 children were killed as the bus drove through a market in Doyen in Sada. Saudi Arabia has continued to defend the raid as a legitimate military action intended to hit Houthi leaders. It has authorized an investigation of the strike. International human rights groups and UN officials have expressed outrage. Wooden coffins, most with pictures of the children, were taken by cars and carried by pallbearers to a graveyard from a square where prayers were held earlier. A crowd of mourners was chanting the Houthi slogan, "Death to America, death to Israel." Colombian President Ivan Duque is facing a diplomatic row with Israel in his first week in office after the outgoing government recognized Palestine as a sovereign nation just days before his tenure ended. He read a public statement, quote, "I would like to inform you that in the name of the government of Colombia, President Juan Manuel Santos has decided to recognize Palestine as a free, independent, and sovereign state in the name of Colombia." The new president has vowed to review the moves and analyze the implication. Israel's embassy says it is surprised and disappointed by the decision. Time for another break. Stay with us. ANN News will be right back with sports.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow the story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
There is a new all-news network on the scene in Nigeria to give news from a purely news perspective and to promote free information flow across Africa. Fresh views, unbiased, bold, with a purely African view. African News Network, ANN, in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In sport, Super Eagles forward Ahmed Musa has made a big impact on his debut for Saudi Arabia club Al Nassr in Abu Dhabi on Monday. He scored the winning goal in the 2-1 defeat of the UAE's Al Jazeera in an Arab Champions League round of 32 encounter. Musa netted the winner 15 minutes following his introduction at the start of the second half in place of Moroccan midfielder Nuruddin Amrabat. The host equalized 15 minutes later through Mohamed Jamal. The former Kano Pillar star recently linked up with Al Nassr from English Premier League club Leicester City. The Nigerian women's under-20 football team, the Falconets, have progressed to the quarter-final stage of the ongoing FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in France. A last-ditch effort from Rasheedat Ajibade saved Nigeria from exiting the tournament, forcing China to a 1-1 draw. The Asians were stronger in defense at the second half as the Nigerian team continuously pushed for an equalizer. The Falconet push during the 5 minutes at a time was rewarded as Ajibade scored to qualify the team for the quarterfinals. The girls have scored 2 goals and conceded 2 in the tournament. Good for them. We wish them success. That is ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on this and all the stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a pleasant evening.